Hello, I'm Mark.
I'm Casey.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about some media reporting on Robotaxi and how the experiment has failed already before it started. But first, let's roll that titles before we get into this.
Well, before you started, the only way that could work is if you get your permits revoked before you get. You're watching the Life Express. All right, how did this work?
Everyone. Thanks for being with us today. I wanted to talk about this article, of course, that we've linked below, as we always do. This article is about the Tesla Robotaxi deemed a total failure by some media outlet, even though it has not been released yet. So unless you're time traveling, I'm really not sure how you could deem this thing a total failure when it hasn't even launched yet. Launch date is sometime in June. We're still sitting in May 21st, to be exact, as to when we recorded this. But yeah, we're not even into June yet. So how this media group is saying that it could be is a total failure before it begins, not really sure. So you start reading into the article, and then you get a familiar face that appears, and that, of course, is the Mr. Dan O'Dowd, who, if you do remember the history of Tesla, Dan runs his own software company, and he's a bit salty that Tesla didn't use his software or help his company pay him for their FSD access or some of the programming that he was offering. And ever since that point, Dan's been on a one-man band drumbeat of trying to indicate that FSD is dangerous. It should not be allowed on the roads. And it's something that can be proven to be unsafe. And how Dan tends to try to prove this is he records himself driving in his Tesla in autopilot, and then ignores the warnings that the car's telling him as he's approaching solid objects in the road, traffic cones, little mannequins, whatever. Because Dan is trying to indicate that he's trying to prove to anyone that will listen that FSD is an unsafe software that should not be allowed on American roads at any time. Even now, Dan continues to do this. And I guess Dan was quoted by this Futurism, which is a article, who wrote the article, claiming that Robotaxi is already an enormous mess, citing the opinions of Dan O'Dowd, perhaps full self-driving's biggest critic. I wouldn't say perhaps. I think that's it's pretty well a guarantee at this point. But
in for sure.
So, and again, even this article indicated that it was media, but it was only one group, and that was this Futurism group that quoted Dan, because they probably had a story that fell through and they had nothing else to do and had a deadline to meet and had to put this out anyway. So they quoted Dan and his misgivings about FSD and how it's certainly not ready for prime time in his eyes. But it's kind of sad, really. Like, why go through this with someone that's completely jaded on this issue and has been for their foreseeable past future? Anyone can see. Just do a Google search on Dan O'Dowd, and everything that he's done with this Tesla one-man band can be seen. It's not hidden. It's all out there that he is constantly indicating that it should be taken off the road, and Tesla's right to use it with anybody should be banned.
I wonder, like you said, that one actually works right there. That they had a hole in the lineup.
Yep.
Wondering if perhaps maybe they thought he was more credible than he is, or less biased than he is. didn't do any research. Like maybe they've never had a chance to experience any of the modes themselves for some reason. I don't know. Maybe they're I thought they were U.S. outlet, but maybe they're a foreign outlet, and there's just no way for them to experience it themselves because it doesn't run there. But it sounds like they didn't do the basic job of even a blog, let alone purporting to be a media outlet. You have certain basic journalistic standards that the readers expect, unless your name is opinion or comedy or celebrity hounding paparazzi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Here's the thing with journalism, and that's why it takes some time, and there is some effort required. Is that you try to take both sides of the story and present them even-handedly, and you let the reader decide whether or not they believe one side of the story or the other, or neither. But in this particular case, Futurism, they didn't even take the vehicle out for a spin themselves. They didn't try FSD, which of course is not what Robotaxi is. It's going to be a level beyond that.
Right.
There will be a software update. There will be new tricks and features, I'm sure, before it's released in June. But again, not even trying to report on what you can see today in FSD was a bit of a loss for them. Just going to Dan O'Dowd and asking him about his experience in an 80-minute FSD drive and how he believes that it failed miserably is dropping the ball being journalism. It's just not there. So as mentioned, this is just kind of as I believe, someone missed a deadline and had to actually get out with the story. And it's like, what can we get to press immediately without any time frame whatsoever?
Yeah, let's mouthpiece this guy. But I mean, like, surely he was driving around with his jacked up Tesla that he could have at least given them a ride in if they'd asked.
Exactly. But no, Dan just got in his vehicle, drove around Santa Barbara for 80 minutes, and or even just said he did, Casey. I'm not even sure if they even would check into that. Like it's just obviously Dan's conclusion is already set, regardless as to whether he goes for another drive or doesn't. It's obviously his opinion that FSD is just not safe for the roads and never will be. So I don't see him taking an extra drive that's going to make any change in his argument or in his opinions.
Yeah, but they could have still drove or ridden in his customized or just out of date, however he's done it, vehicle and experienced what he's claiming to see and let him explain it to them and figured out some of it was just fabrication and be like, oh, some of that sounds plausible because we don't know anything about this thing.
Exactly. Or here's a spin. Why didn't they just go on X, make a post in the city they are in, and ask for someone to provide them with an FSD drive? And I am sure that there would be lots of people that would be happy to give them a ride and let them see from their point of view, their own eyes, how an FSD ride is already happening in many cities across the world.
Yeah, because even if you were deferring to experts or whatever, you would need another expert to either confirm or refute what the man said. It's a weird choice. And then to declare it dead before it's even started, you wouldn't think that they're going to have another software update before they go and get started, even if it's the night before, or hopefully it's like 2 days before, so they can test it one more time.
Weird. And again, as soon as I saw Dan's name in this article, I understand. I understand why it was so cut and dry in a negative fashion, and there was nothing to it. So, again, we leave the articles in the link below if you'd like to examine it any further. But in this case, Dan is a leopard that does not change his spots. And I don't see that changing anytime in the future as well. So
Yeah.
not a surprise if you see Dan in the future saying that, that it's dead and buried before it even happens. So not a big surprise.
I mean, they could have took a Waymo. There's so much more they could do to the story than just listen to him for 80 minutes.
Exactly.
So weird. Well, if you want to spend the time reading it, let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, in the comments, let us know what you think about Dan and his opinion. Does he have any merit at all? Let us know.
I mean, in theory, he could, but with the fact that the way that he hasn't earned the.
He hasn't earned his credibility at all. Like the first time that I saw him actually filming him driving in FSD, and then when he approached an object, he moved the camera angle so the warning would not appear on the screen and be seen in the video he was making. At that point, I said, okay, this guy has no credibility whatsoever.
Yeah, and then he's running a competitive company. And I mean, that part doesn't necessarily immediately count you out, but the way that he presents combined with that. And then he's like, oh, our stuff never crashes, never fails. And then like 3 weeks after he showed up on the scene, one of his jets goes missing. And I say his jets, but one of our fighter jets goes missing, running his software. Just flew into the lake.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. That is exactly it. We'll leave that there. Casey, any shout outs for us as we end the show?
Yes, catch us live on Wednesday, and we'll see you there at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Tesla Live.
Exactly. And if you happen to have interest, there is a summer meetup happening in Muskegon, Michigan, June 20th, 21st. And you can check out tickets if you go to the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan and look up Summer Meetup, or just Google it. It'll come up, and you can check out what's going to be happening over those 2 days and where to get your tickets. So please do, and if you do, come out, say hello to us. Come on out and say hi. Would appreciate it. With that, I think we will wrap it, and we thank Lee Moon for the music that we use every week, and get together with us next time, and we'll find out together what's happening in the Tesla life.
Bye-bye now.